helping us understand how good the player is Washington traded for yesterday. John McClain from Houston, Texas, has covered the Texans, the Oilers, all of it. John, thanks for making time for us, sir.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Let's start with the basics. How good of a player is Laremy Tunsil?
Laremy is an outstanding pass protector, mediocre run blocker, and the problem that he had last season, he led the NFL in penalties with 19, I think 13 with false starts. He got to a point where when he committed a false start penalty at home, fans would boo him like crazy. If he committed holding, they didn't do anything because it just got so frustrating. And one reason, he's always out there by himself on an island. He wants to get as quick of a start as he can. And some of those officials, they call it closer than others. Yeah. But he'll do a terrific job as protecting Daniel's blind side. And the problem with Laremy, and maybe the Commanders won't have a problem with it, when Bill O'Brien, who was coach and general manager in 2019, he was obsessed with trading for Tunsil. And he traded 2 ones and a 2, and he threw in a couple of tomato cans and to get Tunsil and a couple of backups. But that's how much he wanted Laremy. And he solidified that position, and they won the division, won a playoff game. And when he wanted his contract, what he done, he didn't have an agent. Everybody said Laremy Tunsil does his own contracts. No, he's got 3 guys that help him, and they made him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. And then when his next one was due, they made him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. His next contract, current one, expires after the 2026 season, and he's trying to get another extension, which I'm guessing he's going to try to be the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. And don't know if he can get it done before the season or if they wait until after the season. But he doesn't show up in the off season except for the mandatory minicamp. He's always in shape, steps right in, solidifies the position. He had a stroke last year on his knee, which he spent most of camp on the side working out on his own. But then he played really well, as he always does as a pass protector. So it's a good job, a good trade for a team with a great young quarterback on the rise. And they gave up, in essence, only 3 picks since they swapped 4s. And I think the Commanders will be really happy that they have acquired Tunsil.
All right. You said that he struggles a little bit with the run. What's the biggest issue with his run blocking?
He doesn't get paid for run blocking, and he knows it. He puts out the effort. The Texans' offensive line was one of the worst I've seen, and this is my 49th year covering the NFL. And it was just terrible. Mainly the interior. Tunsil was their best offensive lineman by far. And they've got, he wasn't a bad run blocker. I just think everybody did. If you look at his run block stats, he's in the middle of the road. But it's not like, oh my God, Tunsil got stuffed. He doesn't get stuffed. He doesn't get knocked backward. So not many people pay any attention to that. And when Joe Mixon was healthy, they had a really good running game, and he ran to the left side a lot. But overall, their offensive line was terrible. It affected Stroud, and but they still won the division, won a blowout playoff game, and lost the divisional round on the road, which is what they've done every time they've been in the playoffs. And so people here are stunned that you'd be that bad up front and trade your guy, even if he wanted a new deal. So what? He's got 2 years left. He's not going to sit out and lose millions of dollars.
Sure. I'm curious if you think he's got guaranteed money left on the deal this year. Whenever he's going to start asking for a new contract, does that come next year?
Oh, I'm sure he'd like to get it now because this will probably be the last one he signs at his age. Even though it's strange the way tackles now can play longer.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of mileage, but he showed no signs whatsoever of letting up as a pass protector. He takes people on one-on-one, and sometimes, and this was blatantly unfair, I saw a fan website last night here talking about Tunsil getting beat on sacks. Well, if you watched it, he was beaten because the other side let pass rushers in as soon as the ball was snapped, and Stroud ran right in to where Tunsil was taking his guy wide, as he's supposed to do. And I don't know why they came up with that was Tunsil's fault, other than they were clueless. But I just think it's a great trade for a team on the rise. And the Texans, of course, they're trying to load up. After free agency, they're going to sign Derek Finlay Jr., their quarterback, to a new contract. And I'm sure he'll be the highest paid defensive back in history over J.C. Horn, who will become official tomorrow. And then next year, they're going to start thinking about extensions for Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. And I don't think they were interested in giving Tunsil a third extension that would make him the highest paid offensive lineman in history.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, if you're Houston, they're a year away from having to probably pay Stroud $300 million or something, right?
Yeah, no telling what that's going to be. And, I think this time next year, if they do what they did with Deshaun Watson, they extend him after 3 years. And so that's what we all expect him to do.
Well, and talking with our friend John McClain from Houston after this massive trade, Washington goes and gets Laremy Tunsil. I mean, you've watched a lot of ball over the years, John. Do you consider him a top 3, top 5 left tackle in the NFL?
Absolutely, as a pass protector, without a doubt. And once he gets out there, Dan Quinn won't have to worry about that position. Cliff Kingsbury won't have to worry about that position. They have other things they'll have to worry about. It will not be Laremy Tunsil pass protection. Now, he's missed some games with nagging injuries, nothing serious, and he'll play hurt.
Now, a lot of Cliff's designs have his tackles moving, getting out on the edges, a lot of screens. How does Tunsil perform kind of on the move?
I mean, this was a bad screen team till this past season, and they weren't very good anyway. I never understood why they couldn't run screens, no matter who the play callers were, offensive line coaches. But the best one they had was Laremy. Okay. He was their best offensive lineman overall. They won the division 3 times with him in his 5 seasons, won a playoff game each of those seasons. And he was, until the emergence of Stroud, and Tunsil was their best offensive player. He's still, a lot of people, based on his achievements, he's right up there. He was numbered the second best offensive player on the team. And so anything they want him to do when it comes to pass protection, he'll do, I wouldn't say effortlessly like he did earlier in his career. He has to work a little harder, but he's smarter.
Well, John, last one. This is breaking news. Apparently, the Texans just traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the Eagles safety, and they're sending Kenyon Green, the guard, to Philly.
Yeah, Kenyon Green played next to Laremy Tunsil. He was a first-round pick, and he'll go down as the biggest bust in Texans history. He's from Texas A&M. He missed his first year. His problems, his inadequacies were exposed here by the Commanders when they just flattened him. He lost his confidence. They knocked him backward in that game. He lost his confidence, missed the next season, came back last season at left guard. He was terrible. Maybe now he'll go to another good team with a great line coach. He'll be better. But the Texans needed depth and safety because they had so many injuries there. So I like that deal because they would have cut Kenyon Green anyway.
There you have it.
Hey, what's Laramy's like personality? What's his personality like?
He sometimes he's kind of moody. I remember when he came here, when the media first time we interviewed him in the locker room, he was boring as hell. And he said, "Ask me something interesting." And somebody said, "Who's your favorite singer?" And he goes, "No, that's the kind of questions I like." So he's got a kind of a playful personality. I like dealing with Tunsil. He knows he's good. You know, he doesn't create any controversy when he's talking. Most of the time, he's cooperative. And I can't think of anything negative about him other than the fact he wants to get paid.
Hey, we all want to get paid, John.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, John, thank you for your time,
John.
man. Always enjoy having you on.
Guys, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
The great John McClain. Give him a follow. McClain
That's
on
old
NFL.
old school stuff like that. He tell you just a little boring, but I like him.
He will tell you the truth.